Hi everybody. So yesterday I watched two videos on Miss Mojo about holiday movie top 10 lists, and I wanted to share my combined opinions of both of the lists in those videos. So the lists that they posted were about top 10 holiday movies of the 2000s and top 10 holiday movie musicals. So this list is a combination of my opinions of both of those lists and where I think the movies in those lists would rank and where movies that didn't make their top 10 would end up in mine. So, at number 1 is Elf. Elf is one of my favorite Christmas movies. It came out in 2003 and stars Will Ferrell and Zooey Deschanel. I have seen Elf the musical twice. Once at Riverbend Youth Company and once at the Majestic Theater. It is one of my favorite Christmas movies / musicals. My favorite song from Elf the Musical is probably Never Fall in Love with an Elf, which is sung by Jovi. And Jovi is my dream role in that musical. Number 2 is Christmas Chronicles. Christmas Chronicles is a more recent Christmas movie that was on Netflix in 2018, and it probably is still on Netflix if you want to check it out. It stars Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, and it's about Santa's sleigh breaking down and 2 kids helping him deliver Christmas gifts. It's really quite good, and you should check it out if you haven't already. At number 3 is The Sound of Music. I was surprised to see The Sound of Music in this list on Miss Mojo because I don't really consider it a Christmas movie, though I guess I could see why it would be on the list because it's on TV every time at Christmas, whether it's the regular version or the sing-along version. So The Sound of Music has a special place in my heart because it was one of the first movie musicals that I ever saw, because my grandparents used to own the VHS tape of the movie, so when I was younger, I used to go over to their house and watch it all the time. My favorite songs from The Sound of Music have always been My Favorite Things, 16 Going on 17, Edelweiss, and also from the musical No Way to Stop It, which is sung by Elsa and Max. At number 4 is The Polar Express. The Polar Express has always been one of my favorite Christmas storybooks. I grew up reading the book. The movie directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks came out in 2004. The Polar Express is not a musical yet, but it should be. And one song that I think would translate fantastic to the stage from that movie is Hot Chocolate, because there's lots of tap dancing in it. And that's also a fun song to sing. My first year in Sauhegan Valley Chorus, our Christmas concert theme was songs from Christmas movies, and Hot Chocolate was one of the songs that we sang, and that was a very fun song to sing. Number 5 on my list is Annie. Annie did not appear on Miss Mojo's list, and it should have been there. I was disappointed that it wasn't there because Annie is just such a heartwarming musical. It's always been one of my favorite musicals. I have seen all the versions of the movie. The original one from the 80s, the one from 1999 with Kristen Chenoweth, Alan Cumming, Audra McDonald, Victor Garber, and Kathy Bates, and the more recent one from 2014, which I was not pleased with. I didn't like that movie. The one where Cameron Diaz was Miss Hannigan. I just didn't think Miss Hannigan's role leads to I didn't think that Cameron Diaz was the best pick for Miss Hannigan based on other movies that I've seen her in the past. Cameron Diaz is very talented. I just didn't think she was a very good fit for the role of Miss Hannigan, because Miss Hannigan is a villain. And all of the other movies I have seen Cameron Diaz in have been comedic roles. Like, she was the voice of Princess Fiona in Shrek. She was in Charlie's Angels. She was in The Holiday, which I haven't seen. That's another Christmas movie. Number 6 is Love Actually. Love Actually came out in 2003, and it's the plot of it is sort of like he's just not that into you, with different interlocking stories set during Christmas time. My favorite one is the one with the little boy trying to get his crush's attention. So he's like a drummer in the school band, and they're getting ready for their Christmas concert. The little girl's name is Joanna, and the little boy's name is Sam, and he chases her through the airport to try to catch up with her before her plane leaves. And and I think that's so cute. My least favorite storyline in that movie is the one where Alan Rickman is cheating on his wife, who's played by Emma Thompson. And I just felt so bad for Emma Thompson when she found the gift that was not for her in Alan Rickman's jacket pocket. And I read an article, actually, that scene, like, her emotions in that scene were genuine because she was going through a breakup at the time with, I think it was Kenneth Branagh or something. I read that article somewhere a couple of years ago, and that scene is, like, very well acted. So kudos to her for that. Number 7 is White Christmas. White Christmas is a classic movie musical from 1954. I've watched this movie a couple of times. We don't watch it every Christmas, but maybe we should. This is another musical movie that we sang songs from in Sohegan Valley Chorus in our Christmas movie themed Christmas concert from 2014, and we sang Snow and White Christmas, which are very beautiful songs by Irving Berlin. Number 8 on my list is Anastasia. Anastasia, I feel, is a very underrated animated film by Don Bluth, the same director who directed Fievel Goes West and An American Tail. So Anastasia is a historical fiction movie that's actually based off the real Princess Anastasia from Russia. This movie was put out by 20th Century Fox in 1998 and is now, 20th Century Fox is now owned by Disney. This movie was always one of my favorites, and I think it's very underrated, and it's a movie I would see again. And a beautiful song from this movie is Once Upon a December. When I did musical theater class at Plus Company, my friend Sam sang this song in our talent show, and she did a really good job with it. This was a couple of years ago, in like 2017 or 2018, when I used to teach musical theater classes at the Plus Company. And Anastasia is actually a Broadway musical now, which I have not seen, and I want to see. So if you have seen the Anastasia musical, please leave a comment below with what you thought of it and what your favorite songs are from it. The next movie is Scrooge. Scrooge is a movie from 1970 that stars Albert Finney, and it's a movie musicalized version of A Christmas Carol. And in 2014, Riverbend Youth Company put this show on and it is basically one of my favorite Christmas musicals. Out of all the modern Christmas musicals, and my favorite songs are December the 25th and Thank You Very Much. At number 10 is the Muppet Christmas Carol. This, I think, is one of my favorite versions of Christmas Carol besides Scrooge, because I grew up with watching the Muppets and Sesame Street, and this movie is a classic. If you haven't seen it, please watch it because it's fabulous. And obviously my favorite characters are Kermit the Frog as Bob Cratchit, Fozzie Bear as Fozziewig, and Robin the Frog as Tiny Tim. So yes, if you have never seen this version of A Christmas Carol, please watch it. I'm pretty sure that it is on Disney Plus. The next movie is a toss-up movie. At number 11, we have The Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, The Nightmare Before Christmas can either be considered a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie. To be honest, we watch it in either season. It doesn't really matter. This is a stop-motion Disney movie from 1993 that was directed by Tim Burton. The lead characters are Johnny Depp as Jack and Catherine O'Hara from Home Alone and Schitt's Creek as Sally. And it is one of my favorite Christmas movies / Halloween movies. My favorite songs from Nightmare Before Christmas are What's This and Sally's Song. Those songs are beautiful. At number 12 is Frozen, and I'm going to group Frozen 2 in with Frozen. I love both of the Frozen movies. They both have great songs in them. My favorite songs are Let It Go in Summer, Do You Want to Build a Snowman, Lost in the Woods, Into the Unknown, and Show Yourself, and The Next Right Thing. So I'm assuming you have all seen Frozen by now because that movie has been out for a while. Frozen 2 came out in 2018 or 2019. I'm assuming you have seen that by now too. If you somehow haven't, please see it. I would be shocked if my followers have not seen Frozen or Frozen 2 by now because those movies have been out for a long time. But yes, highly recommended. And so I would like to speak of one of my favorite songs from Frozen 2 from just a second. It's called The Next Right Thing, and it's sung by Anna at the point where, Elsa kind of pushes her away again to go find her mother in Onto Holland. And I connected to this song a lot during COVID-19 because I was trying to figure out the next right thing for me. Because I was in COVID isolation and I was having trouble with being alone and being lonely and being isolated. And I was also trying to decide if I still wanted to act in plays anymore. And truthfully, I'm actually still deciding that right now. I haven't decided if I still want to act or if I want to work backstage or help out with publicity. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. I'm trying to still get adjusted to living in my new area. I miss all my friends from New Hampshire, and when I do start acting again, I will let people know when my shows are going to be. I have an audition coming up in the spring for Mary Poppins at a local theater that is near my house, so I am very excited to possibly audition for that show again. So Rent is my next favorite Christmas movie. Rent is one of my top favorite Broadway musicals that I have seen. I saw it in 2008 when it was still in New York. I saw it literally right before it closed as my college graduation present with my friends Heather and Cooper. and it is one of my favorite musicals of all time. My dream role is Mimi, who is played by Rosario Dawson in the musical and the movie. And my favorite songs in Rent are Seasons of Love, Out Tonight, and Take Me or Leave Me. And I have a fun memory to share of Take Me or Leave Me. So in college, I took a gender roles in the media class, and I didn't do very well in it. It was a very challenging class. So in order to pass, I had to be part of a drag show for extra credits. And my friend James and I sang Take Me or Leave Me. I was Mark and he was Joanne. That was fun. Unfortunately, even with the extra credit, I still did not pass the class. I do not miss having that professor because she was a really tough grader and she was not very nice either. If you took that class with me, I think you would remember which teacher I'm talking about. So the next movie I wanted to talk about is Meet Me in St. Louis. Meet Me in St. Louis takes place in the early 1900s and focuses on the Smith family, and it's like a time capsule of their year. This is the movie that Judy Garland was in after The Wizard of Oz. And this musical was the PTA play in 2013. I worked backstage for it, helping with set painting. And my favorite songs from Meet Me in St. Louis are the Trolley Song, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, and Banjos. And actually, right now I am working on a fan fiction that crosses over with Annie and Meet Me in St. Louis and focuses on Annie and Molly getting married, and Molly is getting married to the grandson of Rose and Warren from Meet Me in St. Louis. So right now, the concept idea I'm working on for this fan fiction is Grace is putting together a wedding scrapbook for Annie and Molly with advice for Annie and Molly, and the adults are writing her letters. So this is Warren, Rose, Grace, Oliver, and the old Esther, John, and Lon, and Lucille. So I'm still having trouble writing these letters. So if you play these characters in the PTA play, can you kind of help me out with writing letters in the style of your character? Give me ideas of what kind of marriage advice that your character would give to Annie and Molly and Roland and Annie's fiance, Hector. So leave a comment or send me a direct message with those. Number 15 is How the Grinch Stole Christmas. How the Grinch Stole Christmas has 3 different movies. The original animated cartoon from the 1960s that was based off Dr. Seuss's book, which is classic. The 2004 live action version with Jim Carrey as the Grinch, which is fantastic, top notch. And the more recent animated version where Benedict Cumberbatch from Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness voices the Grinch. And I have reviewed How the Grinch Stole Christmas 2018 in my book-based animated movies video. So watch that video for my thoughts on that movie. So we are going to be watching a 2004 version of How the Grinch Stole Christmas in a couple of days. But we've watched it previous Christmases. we don't watch it every single year. We would probably watch it every other year. So we rate 2004 How the Grinch Stole Christmas with Jim Carrey a B+, and the animated version from a couple of years ago, 2018, Benedict Cumberbatch, C+. At number 16 is the Santa Claus 2. This is the first sequel to the Santa Claus movie with Tim Allen. The original movie came out in 1996, so it doesn't make Miss Mojo's list because this is 2000s movies. So more classic movies and movies from the 90s and 80s make my honorable mentions. I love the Santa Claus movies. I think they're really, really funny. I haven't seen any of them in a long time, actually. So I hope I get the chance this year to watch them again because I haven't seen them in a long time. The next Christmas movie I wanted to talk about today doesn't actually make either of Miss Mojo's list. It might be in the animated Christmas movies video, which I did not watch yet. But this next movie I wanted to talk about at number 17 is Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas, which is a sequel to the animated Disney Beauty and the Beast movie that came out in 1998. We watched this during our binge session of Disney sequels, and we ranked this in the middle tier of Disney sequels, which by Wicked Binge's ranking standards would be like gray area. So not top tier, but not bottom tier either. So we gave Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas a B+, I think. And something that was weird about this movie was that, so at the end of Beauty and the Beast, we all know that the Beast and the household objects turn back into humans. But in this movie, they're still enchanted and they're still in their enchanted form. So what confused me about this movie was where it's supposed to be set. Like, is it supposed to be set like during Beauty and the Beast, but like before the spell is broken? Or is this not set in the same universe as Beauty and the Beast? Because I was having trouble figuring out when it was set, because I get that the title is supposed to be Enchanted Christmas, but doesn't that defeat the whole purpose of them turning human at the end of the first movie? Like, I never understood that. So yeah, I talked about Frozen 2, which is at number 18, when I talked about Frozen, which is at number 12. I combine them together in one talking point because it's easier for me to do that. So for honorable mentions, I'm talking about classic Christmas movies and Christmas movies from the 90s and 80s, because Miss Mojo's list mostly talks about 2000s movies. So my first honorable mention is It's a Wonderful Life. We have watched It's a Wonderful Life every year since 2012, when we were in the play at the Amato Center. I have played Mrs. Hatch twice in It's a Wonderful Life, and I have also seen the musical at the Majestic Theater in Manchester. And my favorite song from the musical of It's a Wonderful Life is My George Bailey, which is sung by Mary Hatch. And I guess my goal, now that I've been in as Mrs. Hatch in the stage play version twice in It's a Wonderful Life, if I had a goal character to be in the musical, I would be Mrs. Hatch again, even though she doesn't sing. Or maybe I would be, I don't know. I'm not sure who else I would be, really. Probably like Violet Bick. That's the first character that would come to my mind as somebody who I would be in the musical. The second honorable mention is Miracle on 34th Street. Last night, the version from 1998 was on TV. This version of the movie has Mara Wilson from Matilda and Mrs. Doubtfire in it, as well as Dylan McDermott from Three to Tango. And the thing that's the best part about the Miracle on 34th Street movie has to probably be the courtroom scene where they have Santa Claus on trial for beating up the guy who was harassing him on the street. And it's so cute because the kids come to his defense in the courtroom and say, yeah, I believe in Santa. I just think that's so sweet and so cute. And I love the part, especially in that scene when Susan, who is the little girl that Mara Wilson plays, comes to the judge and speaks on behalf of Kris Kringle. I just think that whole scene is so heartwarming. And also the scene where the guy who is the Santa, his name is Chris, and he comes over to babysit Susan, and Susan gives him a test saying, give me something for Christmas that my mother can't get for me, which is a dad and a brother. So, I think that's really sweet that she really wants a family. And if you haven't seen the movie before, I'm not going to spoil the ending. Please watch the movie because it's a classic Christmas movie. The next honorable mention is a movie that we're going to be watching next week, which I will do a separate review on. It's called The Bishop's Wife. It is a movie that I heard about in another Miss Mojo video about top 10 ranked Christmas movies. Miss Mojo has a whole bunch of different Christmas movies on their channel right now, so please check out their video if you're looking for like Christmas movies to watch that you haven't seen, because that's where I'm getting my movie recommendations from, is their videos. The next honorable mention I have is A Christmas Story. A Christmas Story came out in 1983, and it stars Peter Billingsley as the lead character, Ralphie, who asks for a Red Ryder BB gun for Christmas, and the line he keeps getting thrown at him is, "You'll shoot your eye out." So, we started watching this Christmas movie every year around 2015 or 2016, so we've been watching it for a couple of years. And this is another Christmas movie that has a musical. We haven't seen the musical yet, but we've been meaning to see it. And finally, my last honorable mention is Home Alone. Home Alone is a classic Christmas movie that came out in 1990. It stars Macaulay Culkin as the lead character, Kevin McAllister, who gets left at home by his parents when they go on vacation for Christmas. His mother is played by Catherine O'Hara from Schitt's Creek. The villains, Marv and Harry. I forget the actor's name who plays Harry or Marv. Harry was played by Joe Pesci, I think. And Macaulay Culkin was actually honored recently with a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, which is great. I'm so happy for him because he has been one of my favorite actors since Home Alone came out in the 90s. And I'm probably as old as he is, maybe younger, I don't know. As I have said before, because of safety reasons, I cannot reveal my age, but I did just have a birthday in August, so you can probably guess how old I am based on how I look. Although most people sometimes guess I'm younger. So, which of these Christmas movies are your favorites? Which Christmas movies do you watch every year? Which Christmas movie. Which Christmas musicals do you like the best? What are your favorite songs from these musicals? What are your dream roles from these musicals, if you have any? I don't think I mentioned my dream roles from Annie when I talked about Annie at the beginning of the list, but my dream roles from Annie are Mrs. Pugh and Lily St. Regis. A long time ago, my dream role was Grace Farrell, but when I auditioned for actor singers when they did Annie in 2012, I auditioned for Grace. I didn't get the part, and I realized after that audition that I was setting my expectations way too high for myself about which characters I could actually get cast as. So that was a wake-up call. I learned things the hard way that I'm probably not going to get any lead character parts, so maybe Lily and Mrs. Pugh might be better roles for me to audition for. So yes, Merry Christmas. Leave comments below with what your favorite movies are. Christmas movies, Christmas musicals, songs from Christmas musicals, favorite roles you played in these plays. If you were in Meet Me in St. Louis in 2013 with the Amherst PTA, also leave a comment with what kind of wedding advice your character would give to Annie and Molly for their wedding, because it would help my fan fiction. Have a great night.